So, man, I'm going to jump right in it. So raise your hand if you love sports in here. Sports, come on. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. I love, like, man, something about sports it just gets me going. Well, let me move this in the middle. This is how the professionals do it. Okay. Justin had to remind me, put it in the middle. I'm like, bro, like, I'm a hooper. Chill. But I love sports. Like, I say, y'all like Josh Allen in here? Josh Allen throwing touchdown passes. That's exciting. I'm a Miami fan, so I'm with Tua. Hope you get back. Chill. But also, like, you think about sports, you think about people getting dunked on. Anybody like seeing somebody get dunked on ESPN? No? All right, cool. We'll roll with that. I hope y'all don't like pickleball because we don't have issues, big issues here. But no, man, I love sports. But today, I want to break down this message like a basketball game. So 4 quarters, right? So everybody say 4 quarters. Try again. 4 quarters. 4 quarters. Thank you. Yes. But I truly believe God has me here for a special word for y'all today. This is not my home, but it's like my second home. I know a lot of people here by now, and it's just cool being here. So I think moments like this are important, and my wife is always telling me to pay attention to the details. So I'm getting better at that as a husband, father. But this first quarter, so before every quarter, everybody got to take a deep breath. All right? So we got to be like really like in it. Like just through your nose, out your mouth. Let's go. So I got 4 quarters. So the first quarter we're about to start. So everybody take a deep breath. Come on. It just feels better that way. So, first quarter. Is your walk with God personal? If you're taking notes. Is your walk with God personal? Is your walk with God truly personal? Galatians 2:20 says, I have been crucified with Christ, and I no longer live, but Christ lives in me. The life I now live in the body, I live by faith in the Son of God, who loved me and gave himself for me. Galatians 2:20. This verse reminds me that following Jesus isn't just a routine or going through the motions. It's not about checking a box on Sunday. It's personal. It's not like having a Krispy Kreme faith. Anybody like Krispy Kreme? Meaning you are your best only when the light is on. It's about truly living out Matthew 5:14. You are the light of the world. A city built on a hill cannot be hidden. You are the light of the world, like a city on a hilltop that cannot be hidden. It's about Christ living in us and changing how we talk, walk, and love people all around us. Is your walk with God personal? So I got a son. He's not here. He was at first service. His name is Carmelo Anthony Jackson. Chill. My middle name is Anthony. And for y'all basketball players. But we went to the park one day. So I go to this park, and my wife always reminds me, when you go to the park, you never know what's going to happen. It's going to be good, bad. You never know. But I go to this park one day. It's just me and Mello. He was 3 at the time. He's 5 now. But he comes down the slide, and like I'm sitting here, I'm watching him, and I see this kid, like he probably like a little taller, like maybe taller than Mello. He's like 7 or 8, and he pushes Mello down. And like I'm pretty like a chill guy. Like it take a lot to get me upset. Like you talk about my mom is a problem, talk about my wife is a problem. Like but he pushed my kid down, so I beeline. I know we in church, but I beeline right to him. And I look this 7-year-old in the eye. And I say, listen, boy, you hit my son and you push my son down again, it's going to be a problem. Of course, he ran off crying. But, I maybe shouldn't have done it. But what made me do that? It was personal. We all have those moments in life, right? It was personal. It was my son. It was personal. And I couldn't just sit back and do nothing about it. So, that's how God feels about you. Is that how you feel about him? Is it personal? His love isn't distant, it's personal. It doesn't change. Hebrews 13:8 says this: Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. Hebrews 13:8 says Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. He doesn't just want a piece of your week. He wants your whole heart. He doesn't just want a piece of your week. He wants your whole heart. So we move into the second quarter now. If you're taking notes, deep breath. What are you willing to do for the gospel? What are you willing to do for the gospel? I still remember when my wife and I have been married. It'll be 11 years in October. And when we first met, like, you know, like I try to play like I'm cool, you know, try to be cool, but I'm not really cool. But I'm just like, that's my wife. I want to impress her. So one of our first dates, she wanted to go parasailing. And I'm like, parasailing? But I faked it, you know. And I don't know if y'all know this, but majority of black people can't swim, so I was one of those black people. But anyway, so I put on a thing. I'm terrified, but we went parasailing and doing all that. And she asked me, "I like it," and I said, "Yeah, I like it." But I really didn't like it. But it was it was our first dates. But you think about stories, we all love like a great story, and the Bible is full of great stories, and it's hard to just pick one of them. But in this second quarter of the sermon, I want to just focus on the passage that shapes and molds me every time I read it. 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verses 19 through 23. 1 Corinthians chapter 9, 19 to 23. Though I am free and belong to no one, I have made myself a slave to everyone to win as many as possible. And when I first hear that word, like listen to that verse, if I'm being honest, like I think about the word slave. Like it triggers something deep in me. Like as a black man from the South, reading that word brings up so much like generational like pain and like injustices and all these different things. But it also brings back something like a memory that I want to forget about. In middle school, when people used to call me the N-word, when I was at this predominantly white school, people used to be like, "You, this, right?" And it used to do something to me. And it triggers all these different feelings. And sometimes we can bring our cultural lenses into a text. That's me in the 7th grade. See how crazy and funny looking I look. But anyway, that's me in 7th grade. But we all have those moments. But in this particular passage, Paul isn't talking about being oppressed or bullied. He's talking about choosing to lay down his life for the sake of others, to die to self. This isn't easy. He goes on in verse 20, he says this: "To the Jews I became like a Jew to win the Jews. To the weak I became weak to win the weak. I have become all things to all people, so that by all possible means I might save some." Paul's whole mindset in this text is this: if he helps reach one person, someone for Jesus, I do it, even if it costs me my life. Now, I don't know if y'all ever been to Fort Myers, but since I've been running, it's 11 years since I started Hoops on Mission, this month actually, and it's been 22 kids that have been murdered in 11 years, under 16. So as a missionary, people think about Fort Myers retirement, we're growing quick, but we all know it's different sides. It's the other side. There's things that happen. But when I think about that, it does something to me. Like, it affects me. Like, sitting in living rooms with single moms and grandmas who just lost their grandbaby or their son, it does something to you. And it leads me to this. Next slide. What is your faith costing you today? Do you got a Krispy Kreme faith? Only when the light is on. But what I realize is it's so easy to get complacent in life. It's so easy to just go through the motions. And I think about this. Every Sunday, some of y'all go to church. You go to church, and like we hear, and like the church is the body. Like it's so important. But if you can come here every Sunday and nothing changes, your faith isn't personal. It's not personal. But also, I'm listening to that dope song that my boy Jay was playing, and the worship music. Like, if you could come here every Sunday and you can listen to worship music, and that song was like, I forgot what they said, like, nothing else, nothing else, nothing else, nothing else but you. Hey, chill. Yeah, I need to try for worship. But, like, if it doesn't change you, if it doesn't, like, move you to do something, your faith isn't personal. Also, this. If you're married and you don't prioritize date night or praying with your family, you can tell I've been in the doghouse a lot, right? Your faith isn't personal. And this the last one is really hard for me, but if you value sports over your identity with Christ, your faith isn't personal. But when you think about like what it's going to cost you, but also like your faith being personal, for me, like, I'm a people pleaser. Anybody like to please people? No, just me? Okay. I just like to please. I can't help it. Like, I just like to please people. Like, sometimes, man, like, it's like so easier just to do a basketball camp than preach a sermon. But also, when I think about speaking, Jay, my boy Jay, I call him Jay. I don't know what y'all call him. But when he asked me to speak, I was like, nah, bro, I'm good. I don't want to speak. I just want to come do my thing and just get out of town. But I always tell kids this, like, when you're uncomfortable, that's when you grow. So I got to practice what I preach. And I tell kids, man, if you don't shoot 500 shots a day, you're never going to get better. And kids do it. But that's not why I do Hoops on Mission. That's not why we are called. That's not what we are called to do. We're called to tell kids and everybody about Christ. But what is your faith truly costing you today? What is your faith truly costing you today? It might cost you relationships. It might cost you to like put up some boundaries. You know? Everybody know what boundaries are, right? Because some people be crazy, right? No? Just me. Maybe I just refer. Some people be crazy. But I think about what is your faith costing you today? As we move to the third quarter, y'all are never going to forget this day. This black guy had me taking deep breaths and stuff. That's weird. You know, I thought it was a therapy session. You know, but I feel like y'all family. Third quarter. What does personal feel like? What does personal feel like? You think about, man, like, what does personal feel like? You taking it personal? What does it feel like? But anybody watch the NBA Finals? Come on, please, this service. Man, I'm going to have to talk to y'all, Pastor. But anyway, the Indiana Pacers and the Oklahoma City Thunder. So basically, if you think about that, what made it exciting was the underdog, of course. Like Indiana Pacers. Like they wasn't supposed to make it that far, but like they did. But we all love those stories. We love those stories. I love those stories. But if you think about David and Goliath, now I was talking to my kids about this. They're like, wait, Dad, what are you talking about? If David and Goliath wasn't in the Bible, I'm picking Goliath 9 out of 10 times, right? Nobody's going to pick David. But if you think about this, what made David different? His relationship with God was personal. It wasn't like a Krispy Kreme faith. He was about that life. We say in Florida, we say we're about that Jesus life. And yeah. But I moved to 1 Samuel 17:45. It says this. David said to the Philistine, he says, you come against me with sword and spear and javelin, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of the armies of Israel. I'm going to read that again. David said to the Philistine, you come against me with sword and spear and javelin, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of the armies of Israel. It was personal. It was personal. And go back to my son, like me grabbing that little kid, could have went to jail, but, it was personal. And we all have those moments in life where it's personal. But is your walk with God that personal? First Corinthians 9:20 says, to the Jews I became like a Jew to win the Jews. To the weak I became weak to win the weak. I have become all things to all people, so that by all possible means I might save some. I have become all things to all people. So I got a cousin in Fort Myers, and one day he was talking to me, and like, you know how you talking to somebody and you don't know the conversation gonna go that deep, but this conversation like real deep, and he was like, man, we say cuzzo, y'all say cousin, we say cuzzo, man, I was robbed the other night, right? And I'm like, okay, like you was robbed. And he started explaining how, like he was in a moment where someone came up behind him and they had a gun to his head, and he was like scared, of course. So I started crying, right? And I'm crying because I felt his pain. I felt like, man, like this is my cousin. This is like family. Like I felt this pain. But if you think about it, it was also personal too. If you think about this, like and the Pacers, and I know y'all didn't watch the NBA Finals, but the Pacers had someone on the team. His name was Tyrese Halliburton. I probably said his name wrong, Halliburton. But he wasn't the best player on the team to start the season. He was a pretty good point guard, but he wasn't the best player on the team, on that particular team. But in the Game 7, the NBA Finals went to Game 7. Everybody know Game 7 is like special, so I let the kids stay up. That's just us. We're a basketball family, of course. And in the first quarter, it was a moment. Tyrese got hurt. And when Tyrese got hurt, let me give you some context. Tyrese, coming off a couple bad games, he hit like three pointers in the first quarter. He was hot. I'm like, oh yeah, Indiana Pacers about to school them. Like, let's go, underdog story. And then Tyrese gets hurt. And honestly, it felt like I got hurt. I felt like I got hurt. But when I think about that, I'm looking at my wife. My wife like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, babe, listen. Tyrese, his Achilles just popped. I seen it. And she couldn't understand that. I was crushed. But why was I crushed? Because it was personal. But when I think about that moment, and I think about myself, and I think about us sometimes, like, why do I get so emotional for a sports team, but not emotional in my home? My daughter, she said, Daddy, I've never seen you cry. I'm like, babe, I cry. Sometimes dads don't want their kids to see them cry. It's just me. But also I think about things like, man, like my wife said, you need to show some more empathy. I'm like, ugh. All right. But why am I so like riled up for this basketball game? But like when it comes to showing emotions in my home, my bench press is really weak in that department. And I think about this. I think about having like accountability. I think about humility. I think about being around like a village of people who also take their faith personal too. And I think about the church, like the church sometimes it's not personal. Our faith is not personal. Sometimes we can just walk in here and just like go through the routines and have a Krispy Kreme faith, and nobody says nothing. And you go through the motion, and you see things, and it doesn't move you. And like you listen to worship music, it doesn't move you. But the sad thing about that, if y'all brothers and sisters, why don't y'all say nothing? But for sports, y'all say something. Josh Allen throws a touchdown, people jumping out of their seats. But when you're in the presence of God, your bench press is weak. Or you're on your phone. I got a buddy back at home. When I first became a Christian, I was like drinking milk, blase, blase, and he was a worship pastor. And he was like, man, like, your worship game is weak. I'm like, what you mean, bro? It kind of hit. When someone says something and like it kind of like hits you. Mostly my wife in this season, but like you get kind of like, man, like what are you talking about? We all need to get checked sometimes. We all need to get checked. And he was like, man, like when you worship, man, this is how you're supposed to act when you're in the presence of God. It's not about you. Everything that went on throughout the week, you give it to God. If you're looking over your shoulder and someone's not doing it, it has nothing to do with you. It's about dying to self. It's about putting your hands up, surrendering everything to God. It took me about 4 or 5 months, but then I kind of got there. And now it's just different. So I approach worship different. I approach my home different before I get in the house. Like I pray before I walk into the house because I know it's going to be a jungle in there. Like I know it's going to be some like firecrackers or something there. Like my wife's going to be looking at me with that eye, and I'm like, man, the people pleasing in me, God. But this is God made me. Anybody ever did an Enneagram test? Enneagram? I'm an Enneagram 9, so I like the peace. I don't want no conflict, but, sometimes I try to keep peace instead of making peace. And God calls us to make peace, not keep peace. I'm like one of those people. Like, I just want to keep the peace. I don't want to talk to that coach. All right, moving on. So, fourth quarter. Deep breath. Come on, fourth quarter. Come on. Yes. Yes. If you're taking notes, what are we going to do? Ooh, this is like real personal too. And I'll go even personal since y'all like my people. Sometimes people might say things, but you might like not want to do anything about it. Like say for example, like y'all ever been in a situation where you felt like you need to say something, but you didn't say something? Anybody ever been in those situations? I got them all the time, like all the time. And like the end of the game, the end of the sermon, it's like expected. We know it's going to be an end of the sermon. Some of y'all happy, and it's just part of it. It's the end of the sermon. When is this guy going to be done speaking? Like, it's part of it. But I always tell kids at basketball camp and like things like, it's not how you start, it's how you, yes. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. I've seen marriages, I've seen people start real well, coaches, leaders, pastors, and end real bad. And it made me think, you could be tired or distracted or checked out, but the game is still going on. Every day is a new day. It's a game. It's a new game. Like what are you going to be about? Like, how's your accountability? But here's the question for us today. Some of us are more afraid of rejection than we are of disobedience. Some of us will stay silent because we don't want to ruffle feathers. And I'm speaking to myself a lot in this sermon too. Some of us will stay silent because we don't want to ruffle feathers. Galatians 1:10 says this. This is my boy Paul speaking. Paul says this, damn, my mind just went brain. For am I now seeking the approval of man or of God? Or am I trying to please man? If I were trying to please, if I were still trying to please man, I would not be a servant of Christ. I'm going to repeat that again. For am I now seeking the approval of man or of God? Or am I trying to please man? If I were trying to please man, I would not be a servant of Christ. And we all can make excuses, like, all the time. But sometimes I'm like peopled out. I'm tired of y'all. I'm tired of y'all. Y'all exhausting. Why can't my son get more playing time? Can you train my son? Can my son go D1? Can you help me out? Can you help me get groceries? Like, it's just part of, like, sometimes I be peopled out. Anybody ever been peopled out before? Thank you. Honest. But what's holding you back from becoming all things for all people so that by possible means you might save some? Paul said, I do all this for the sake of the gospel. We can say this all the time, but still go through the motions. Still don't have accountability. And I know I'm talking about my wife a lot. But my wife, again, I'm getting ready. Like, when I'm speaking to kids, like, it's so much easier. Like, it's just easier. But y'all people, like adults, y'all kind of hard, difficult at times. But so, like, and I'm getting ready. I'm back in Fort Myers. I'm getting ready to speak at this school, and we just put the kids down. And y'all got married, y'all got kids. Y'all know that's a win. When the kids go down, and it's just y'all, and it's silence. It's just something. And we getting ready to watch a show, and my wife says this, and I got to speak the next day. She said, babe, like, did you prepare? And like in marriage, I get defensive. I'm like, what you mean? And you know that's bad. And I said, babe, I didn't. And she says this, and it always sticks to me. I always think about it. And I want to share this with y'all today. God didn't call you to coast. God didn't call you to coast. And it hit me so hard. It was like one of those moments, like today. Like, it was one of those moments where I'm like, she's right. But why is it so easy to coast? And this leads me to a story of a kid that I knew named Teddy. Now, Teddy on the screen, that's my boy Teddy. He got the big Bob Marley dreads. But Teddy only in 4th grade, right? And Teddy, the only reason I met Teddy was because I was volunteering at this local school because 4th and 5th graders couldn't read. They couldn't read. So as I'm journeying along with Teddy, and his favorite candy is gummy worms, and I had to con him with some gummy worms here and there. Okay, cool. But with Teddy kept saying, Coach, I want to play basketball. I'm like, man, whatever, Teddy. Yeah, but Teddy was really persistent. And what you realize is this. I said, you know what? All right, Teddy, you can play basketball. And Teddy lives on the other side of the tracks, I would call it. But what I realized was this. Teddy, 9 years old, 4th grade, his mom was supposed to drop him off at the gym. Now, our gym is like 30 minutes away. It's a little far. And I get to the gym, and my wife says, where's Teddy, babe? And I said, his mom supposed to drop him off. All right? And my wife says this, babe, you knew his mom wasn't going to drop him off. And I really knew she wasn't going to drop him off. But what was the difference? It was inconvenient. Another moment. So what happened was this. I said, all right, babe. So 2 days went by. I call his mom, and I call her, and the first thing that she says when I called her, she said, finally a father figure. So I picked Teddy up from school. Now, it's very inconvenient. It'd be like going from here, where we at? Fruitsburg, right? It'd be going like a little bit past Warren to pick up Teddy, right? That's kind of far, right? How long that is, like 30 minutes? 30 minutes. Okay, cool, yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to make some of y'all falling asleep, but I'm trying to get y'all here. You know, it's cool, we family, we can be like that. So boom. So I picked Teddy up from school. I got my daughter in the car, my daughter 8. And the first time Teddy get in the car, he picked up his phone. I said, Teddy, put your phone away, bro. He said, yes, coach. Put his phone away. And then we driving. We're going to my gym, which before you get to my gym, it's Chick-fil-A. Come on. Everybody like Chick-fil-A? Come on. Yes, Christian chicken. Christian chicken is always better. You know. So we get out. Teddy gets out, and Teddy is walking around like this, like looking like he crazy or something. And my daughter said, Teddy, what's wrong with you, man? What's wrong with you? And Teddy said, man, I never been to Chick-fil-A before, right? And my daughter says, you never been to Chick-fil-A? Love my daughter. And I help him order, but we sit down. You know, I keep messing with this thing. I know Jay going to be mad at me. And we sit down, and I begin to talk to Teddy. And Teddy says this. I said, Teddy, man, like, where your dad at? My dad was killed 2 years ago. And I think about the inconvenience of Teddy. And we all know some people that's really inconvenient. But I think about this kid who was persistent. And this kid who just wanted to be a part of something. Change everything about me. So now we pick up Teddy. Teddy is on fire for God like nobody's business. Like he talks too much sometimes. That's just how he is, you know. And he's a believer now. But I think about, what if I would have just not paid attention to the details? And just like, man, it's just another kid, I don't know. And sometimes we have those moments in life where it's really inconvenient. And Teddy can't play a lick of basketball. He's the most terrible basketball player. But Hoops on Mission is not just about basketball. It's about using basketball to journey with kids to tell them about Christ. And now the trajectory of Teddy's life is different because now he's around the village. Now he talks different. He walks different. He's understanding manners. He's spending the night at teammates' house. I got coaches picking him up who live in Warren and coming to Fruitsburg and dropping them off, then taking them back home, which is really inconvenient. But this is my calling. What is your calling? And to close, what's holding you back from doing the same? What's holding you back for taking your walk with Christ personal? Your worship personal? Your date nights personal? You parenting your kids personal? Working on your tone personal? I hear that a lot. Babe, your tone. I'm like, what? You mean? I'm just passionate. But my wife was right once again. And I think about that. Maybe it's doing one mission trip a year. One mission trip a year. Maybe it's volunteering at a local school, helping kids read, or sitting in the cafeteria, mentoring a student. Maybe it's starting a Bible study in your barn. Or, I said barn. I don't know why I said barn, but maybe it's a lot of barn. I did see a barn. Maybe it's having a Buffalo Bills party and spreading the gospel before the game. Maybe it's volunteering at camp, at Hoops on Mission camp this week. And some people be like, man, like, I got to tell y'all this. Like, so I'm at this like church, and I'm like, man, I've been trying to get this church to come and see. I don't play basketball. I'm like, come and see. And then they start playing this game called pickleball. And I said, man, I've been trying to get y'all to come for 10 years, but now y'all pick up pickleball. Y'all didn't even know how to play pickleball. But you learn with the little boring paddle thing. And you got a new pickleball custom made. You got your knee pads and all that. But you couldn't come and see. It was inconvenient for y'all. But we can go on mission trips in different places where people don't think like us, look like us, act like us. It could be really uncomfortable at times. But like Paul said, the aim is not only to spread the gospel, journeying with someone, only to becoming this, only to get Teddy to understand about Christ, and he loves David like crazy. But it's just that, but we all can have those stories. We all got those stories we can do. And last but not least, maybe it's visiting Fort Myers and meeting Teddy and coming on a mission trip to Fort Myers. You know, I put y'all up, I introduce y'all to some soul food or the Jamaican spot, you know, it change your life forever. But also, I'll tell y'all how we live on mission in Fort Myers. Let's pray. Dear God, thank you for this moment. Thank you for everyone that's in this room. Continue to show us what it means to be a light in dark places. We all go through things. We all can feel weak sometimes, but you always say when we're weak, you become strong. Teach us the areas in our life where we can be a light, but also you can carry us through. Thank you for the cross. Thank you for this church. And thank you for this moment. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.